I would. How would you have answered
the system
that?
pops down to the ruthia then goes to the thorax, and then your brain just explodes
Your
into
brain
sticker balls.
explodes the synapses. I would have just been like, obviously, it's like when your body's jumping into survival.
When you trying to survive, bitch.
Yeah. Yo, hey, what's up? It's your boy Julio from Change Your Algorithm. I gotta stop saying Julio. People gonna think it's your boy Jules, man, from Change Your Algorithm podcast. Let's run that
What's
back.
your real name, brother?
Yo, hey, what's up? It's your boy Jules from Change Your Algorithm podcast.
It's Nate. It's just Nate. I'm a plain bagel,
I was
brother.
still so tempted to say Julio, but I'm trying to stop saying that so I don't confuse y'all. Julio is like when I'm trying to act very Spanish and Latin, but I'm not. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you
we'll
are.
keep
Don't
it
say
Jules.
that, man. You're Puerto Rican.
Wow. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Today we're going to be reacting to a segment from, let me see here. This is Diary of a CEO, which, we love this show. Always has super impactful podcasts and interviews. This one is speaking on ADHD. Why has it risen so much? And then pretty much it seems like the whole podcast is touching on family dynamics, how we're raising children in America, across the world, etc. So we just wanted to take a segment and kind of react to that, so that way we can kind of see what we get from it.
Yeah, we'll put the full podcast in the bio. You guys can watch it yourselves. It's really good. It's 2 hours. If you got that time, do it.
Right.
If not,
just
watch the little segments, dog. Yeah. He's got it laid out.
For real. Facts. Let's get into it.
ADHD.
Yeah, okay.
I don't feel like I don't even have to ask a question here, but just to set the stage, the reason why I'm so compelled by this is just this, I have to say it, the shocking rise in diagnosis and prescriptions over the last 10 years. Between 2000 and 2018, ADHD diagnoses in the UK rose approximately 20-fold.
Yes.
Among boys aged 10 to 16, diagnosis increased from 1% roughly to about 3.5% in 2018. And in men aged 18 to 29, there was a nearly 50-fold increase in ADHD prescriptions during the same period. And the same applies to the United States, where an estimated 15.5 million adults in the US have been diagnosed with ADHD.
That's
approximately 1 in 9 US children have been diagnosed with ADHD at some point, with 10.5% having a current diagnosis. I don't know where ADHD was, but the conversation around it, the prescriptions, the diagnosis seemed to have really surged into culture in a really, really big way. What's going on?
So ADHD was one of the factors that drove me to write being there, because I was seeing this huge uptick in ADHD diagnosis and children being medicated so early. Do you know what the fight or flight reaction is?
That's when the sympathetic nervous system starts to kick into action and
yes, so it's basically our evolutionary response to predatory.
He knows a lot though.
He's a super smart dude, bro.
He be answering all the questions and shit.
Right.
Do you know what flight or flight means?
How would you have answered
the
that?
system pops down to the ruthia then goes to the thorax, and then your brain just explodes into sticker balls.
Explodes the synapses. I would have just been like, obviously, it's like when your body's jumping into survival.
When you trying to survive, bitch.
Yeah. Jumping into survival, man. Like,
so you know he's smart, boy. He's just breaking it down.
Predatorial threat. So if a saber-toothed tiger was chasing you, you either stood and fight, or you ran for your life, flight. So when our children are under stress, they go into fight or flight. So one of the first signs that a child is under stress that they cannot manage is when they become aggressive in school. They hit, they bite, they throw chairs. They have trouble, socially in daycare or preschool or even in school. Or they become distracted, which is the flight part of fight or flight. So what's happening is their nervous systems, the stress regulating part of their brain is getting turned on. So we say that the stress regulating part of their brain has to do with a little almond-shaped part of the brain called the amygdala. It's a very primitive part of the brain, very old part of the brain.
Medulla.
And it regulates stress throughout our lives. It helps us to manage it. what we know is that part of the brain is supposed to remain offline for the first year to 3 years, which is why mothers wear babies on their bodies. It's why babies stay close to their mothers in the first 3 years, to keep the amygdala quiet and only incrementally expose children to stress and frustration that they can manage. So imagine taking small bites of it so you can digest it.
For the first 3 years, that's crazy.
And your mother's there to help you digest the stress. What we're doing now by separating mothers and babies, by putting babies into daycare with strangers, is by sleep training babies, all these weird things that we're doing to babies, is we're turning the amygdala on. We're making it active precociously, too early. What happens when the amygdala is activated too early is it becomes very active and very large very quickly. The problem is then it shrivels up and burns out also because it cannot manage that kind of stress so early. When it ceases to be functional, it ceases to be functional for a lifetime.
Oh,
and
shit.
so it's very important to protect.
Damn, bro.
That's nuts.
You know, what's the expression? The family jewels. These are the family jewels in the brain of a baby.
Wow.
This is the jewel, the amygdala. You want to keep the stress to an absolute minimum in the first year, which is why sleep training is dangerous. It's why letting babies cry it out. It's why putting babies into daycare. It's why leaving babies for hours on end when they're so very fragile.
Damn.
Is so bad for their brains because
pause
it
it.
gets the cortisol flowing.
Tough though, because like, damn, that's pretty wild what she just said though about like the amygdala kind of burning out like at a young age, and then it's like done for life. Like, what the fuck? That's insane, bro.
So she was saying the amygdala is the part of the brain that holds the
That like manages stress and kind of
manages
like
stress.
reacts to the stress. Yeah,
Oh,
it kinda, like,
so what
sends
does
the
she mean?
signals
So
to
what
your
does she
body.
mean that it's turned off?
like it
once-
pretty much gets burnt out to a point where it's like then you're just
Oh,
kind of
okay.
always stuck in stress.
right.
in
So
a
that's
way.
why when a kid is in school, he's like 5 and like he just can't take the craziness, so he just ends up distracting himself with a bunch of other shit.
Or he's like anything
like the
to kind of
pressure,
just
the pressure of work,
like
the pressure
anything,
of homework,
yeah,
the pressure
pushes
of a
him
test.
into that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so he just ends up being a class clown. Sounds a lot like me.
It's like slowly
Like-
getting like a fucking awakening.
Oh shit!
My fucking amygdala burnt out when I was
My
fucking
damn amygdala.
go
Somebody-
home.
Have you seen my
fucking-
amygdala?
You fucking parents let my amygdala burn out.
You're just like an amygdala killer.
What? Bitch ass nigga. Excuse me. That's life, bruh. No,
You a
man.
grown
my,
ass man.
my amygdala could have been fucking intact. Nah, but fuck. So with my first niece, right, with the oldest niece, they did put her into daycare like within her. I think it was right after her first year. Like it was like right after her first year, or after she turned 1, or a little before. But I'm not gonna lie, like it kind of gave her. She's like very good with people, and like I don't know if maybe she was just a calm kid, and she had like so much. Zara.
Okay. Gotcha.
She has so much maybe love and like care prior to going to the daycare, or even though it was, I don't remember if it was like a full day thing or if it was like maybe a few hours, but I do remember it, like it kind of being good for her. Like at least now it seems like she's like very good with people. She's like, you know, in class she's like always getting these little awards of like being like a really good friend or like one of the most supportive kids in the class and shit like that.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just her natural like spirit, but I always thought the daycare was good for her because I was like, damn, I could kind of see that being like, because you know sometimes you almost shelter a kid too much that they're like fucking all weird and like scared of people. It's like, all right, well,
They got social
weird,
anxiety at a young ass age.
bruh. It's like they're
supposed to
like
be
6 and they're like clinging to their parents, and I don't want that. Like I want like a balance. You know what I mean? For my future kids. But yeah, bro, that's interesting that she said also the stress from a daycare could fucking
it's tough
that's
because
wild.
there's so many things. It's kind of like the whole eating thing. Like, oh, stay away from this, stay away from that, stay away from this, but stay away from that. Oh, you can't eat this, you can't eat that, you can't do that, you can't smell this, you can't drink that. It's like, sometimes it's just too much. I get it. Like we need to, like what she's saying is probably true, But realistically, man, parents gotta work.
Well,
you gotta put food on
the
table. Like, I'm pretty sure some people are like, you know what? As soon as I have this kid, I'm gonna just like, which is smart, just take a pay cut and just like stay home and like make sure this kid for the first 3 years or 4 years, 5 years.
That's a sacrifice.
Yeah, it's a sacrifice. So which maybe might make sense because the kid is not gonna remember anything fancy anyways, like going to Disney at age 3 or 4 or whatever.
That's facts too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so that does make sense.
They're gonna definitely feel it. Like they might not remember it, but they're gonna feel the difference. Of having that quality time. So I do agree with that.
Right.
That's crazy. No, I keep forgetting you got the control.
Which is the stress hormone, but it makes this part of the brain very active, so it grows, and then and ceases to be functional in the future, like a PTSD response. So what we know is that these children are in hyper-vigilant states of stress.
ADHD children.
ADHD
But what's
children.
causing the stress for these kids?
Hyper-vigilant states of stress. If you stay in a hyper-vigilant state of stress long enough, you go into a hypo-vigilant state of stress, which then causes depression. So what we have now are not disorders. So there was a whole movement to take the D off of ADHD because it's not a disorder. It is a stress response. And instead of asking the right questions, which are, okay, what's causing the stress? How do we make sure that our children are not exposed to this kind of stress because they're going into fight or flight? So the nervous system, as you said, the brain has an on switch and an off switch. The on switch to stress is the amygdala, the hippocampus is the off switch. And you'd say the stress response is in a negative feedback loop. It's actually important. Like, in other words, if a saber-toothed tiger is chasing you, very important that you can activate, right? And run or
That's
fight.
always like a classic example.
The stress response is supposed to be short-term. It's supposed to be acute rather than chronic. So we can kind of manifest it. We can activate it. But then it's supposed to be turned off by the turn-off switch, the hippocampus. What we're seeing in children's brains is that the amygdala is growing very precociously large, and the hippocampus, which is the off switch, is very small. So we have this problem. As we say, Houston, we have a problem. We have an on switch going full speed, gas, no brakes, and no off switch. And that's causing ADHD, behavioral problems that are hugely rising in children in school, a lot of aggression and violence. And so that's what's happening. This is a stress response. And again, instead of asking the right questions like, where is this coming from? What's causing the stress? Instead, we silence the children's pain. We tell parents, we'll medicate it and we'll just relieve the symptoms. For me, that's malpractice. The way we treat ADHD is malpractice. A child develops, goes into fight or flight when they are under stress. It could be psychosocial stressors at home.
Protect this woman at all
in the
costs.
family.
Protect
it could
her.
Be at school.
I don't know. She
it
kind of
could be
reminds
with
me
their
of
friends.
the billionaire
it could be
lady
a
up in
learning
Paradise.
disability. There's so many things that can cause kids stress. So
Is she
instead
hiding
of
something?
medicating,
Sinatra?
why
Yeah,
don't
anything
we
that
figure out
sends her off,
what's
she's ready to,
happening
like,
to that
start
child
killing
deeply that's
people.
causing them
Nah,
to
she
go
seems
into
pretty
fight or
calm.
flight.
Yeah, she's cool. It's just,
Isn't that
I don't
point
know,
two?
I'm
I've
getting,
got
I'm
two
getting
questions.
Sinatra vibes.
The first is, how do you know that it's stress? And the second is, if it is stress, then that the problem, or at least the inconvenient truth that then creates, is that the parent is responsible.
Yes, there's the inconvenient truth.
For their child's ADHD.
Yes, that's the inconvenient truth. It's not so simple. Sometimes it's the family. Usually it's the family, particularly with small children. But when children get to school, it could be social. As I said, you can't control whether your children are exposed to social issues or bullying, or there's many things that can cause stress in children. But when they're very little, you are their environment. So the inconvenient truth is that when your child gets an ADHD diagnosis, the first thing you should do is go to a therapist who will do parent guidance with you. Don't rush that child to a psychiatrist to medicate them. You go with your partner or spouse and talk to a parent guidance expert about what could be causing this child to feel such stress. and look at the psychosocial
I just wonder
stressors.
what
Look
it
at the
is. Like, what
influences
the
and
fuck
dynamics
causes
in this
kids so
child's
stressed?
life
Like,
that would be causing them to go.
Arguments in the house, like high arguments, parents fighting.
but like
front of them.
babies understand that they like
Hell
feel
yeah.
it.
They feel energy, bro.
True, yeah, it's energy.
Yeah, they feel. That's why they start crying
So
when they
then
hear certain loud noises
true.
and shit like that.
Right.
Because they're like, damn, this don't feel right. Like, so they start getting under stress.
Like their body just naturally
they're
is like warning.
I'm used to like calmness and like beautiful
Damn.
pleasure days, picking my boogers and shitting in my pants.
But I wonder even if like bringing your baby around too much people too soon is even like a little like stressful for them.
Yeah, it could.
If you bring them
depends.
around like a full family that's excited to meet them, and they're like 4 months, and they're like, "Oh my god!" And everyone's like, I could only imagine that's stressful for them too, because like, bro, who the fuck are all these people in my face?
It depends. I don't think that could be stressful unless they make the environment stressful. Like it could be a bunch of happy people that's happy to see the baby, and they bringing off this positive energy and this,
the baby could feel it.
This aura. The baby's gonna be like, damn, I like this, or the baby could be crying because it's a lot, but not stress cry. It's just kind of like, I want to go home.
Get up
it's
on
too
my
much.
face.
Yeah, it's too much love. Like,
well, it's
like,
overwhelming. Yeah, but it's not like scared or fearful.
Yeah, right. It's not fearful, fight or flight. I think it's more of just an overwhelmed feeling like of
damn,
just a little bit too much, and it's like just like when they eat too much. It's like, God damn, I'm full, bitch. No more applesauce.
Let me ask you this: do you think like, this woman speaking about this? Do you feel like it's because this next generation, this generation of kids is like really like worse off than how we were, or do you think it's just because now we just have more information, but we were really like in the same situation, like our generation?
Like our generation has more. Well, I think like she said, like this is a whole entire pod, right? And she talks about families being together, like the father and the mother. And nowadays that's really rare. It'll just it'll be either co-parenting or it'll be like they wouldn't be couples. It'll just be the mom raising the kid.
True.
And that alone is high stress for her. So obviously the baby's gonna get stressed.
Shit, yeah, damn.
You know what I mean? So yeah, there's stuff like that. All the information's out there. It's just that the technology is moving so fast. Again, it's like
and like it's our economy. It's the way our country's set up. It's so demanding.
Yep, you only get 3 months, and other like maternity leave, you only get 3 months.
Guys,
and then in Europe, it's a year.
Oh, guys too?
Well, I don't know about guys, but for women, it's a year. Like to stay at home with the kid. Like
maternity leave.
It's like about a year.
3 months,
6 months
should be
year.
minimum, bro. Like, but yeah, it should be 6 months.
3 months is the max.
Yeah, 3 months is the max over here, right?
Yeah. And then after that, you just gonna.
And where'd you say in Europe? It's a year.
Yeah, it's about a year and a half. I don't know if you guys know if it's
Oh yeah.
If it's less or more, let me know. But from what I've heard overseas, maternity leave is taken very seriously, and they want you to stay with the kid because they don't want friggin' psychos being raised in our society, which makes sense.
Right. True. Yeah. No, that's facts, man.
They don't want little Puerto Ricans just running around.
acting crazy in the streets, but then they go start a podcast. Now they like talking.
Now they do YouTube and they just
doing cinnamon challenges online.
Yeah, but I think this is good enough.
This is definitely an interesting pod that I gotta go back and watch. But damn, 2.5 hours.
Yeah, this is a lot. But this is something that you gotta break it down. Like we're driving in the car, you gotta listen to it, stuff like that. And even if you're young and you're listening to this, and you're like 17, whatever, it's probably still good because maybe you have ADHD, and then this could probably help you realize what happened, and then you can start unfolding things in your life. So,
and I think she's talking a lot about like family dynamics, and like we all can relate to that.
Yeah.
Whether you're about to have kids, whether you have kids, or whether if you're part of a family and like a big family diaspora, like you're adding value to, or you've learned from someone in your family, whatever the case is. Like this is all information we all could fucking appreciate.
Yeah, and if you guys liked this reaction video, put a like. I mean, tap that like or click that like or whichever way you want to do it. Comment, man. Let us know if you guys want us to react to certain other things or what are the things you guys want us to react to or whatever. Remember, this is a new channel. Subscribe. Keep up to date with us. And
Right.
Put on that notification bell.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
make sure to change your algorithm, man, day by day.
Word to mommy, son.
Holla at y'all, man.
Peace.
Peace.